You don't have major defense contractors looking into DLT and then actually believe the story that the United States is so hostile to DLT, and the United States, they don't have any use, the governments don't have any use for a central bank digital currency system. Now, they will have a system. It may not be called CBDC. They're going to have a system. What they'll do, and you could tell this by the verbiage, right? So, of course, the public, there's a public outcry. Oh, we don't want CBDCs. They're going to track everything that we do, and they will. They do that already, right? I mean, they do that already, but whatever. The public doesn't want CBDC system because of that. So what the governments do is say, listen, let the private sector handle it. You know, it won't fall back on us. Let them handle it. And when the private sector does something, they do it well. Look at Google. Google taps into everyone's information. Apple taps into everyone's information. And many times when the government needs access, they hand that information over to the government. The private sector does it better. So what they're doing is, sure, like it says right here, and this is coming from Wardberry. All right, Wardberry, like it says here, major defense contractors have set up divisions. That's not going anywhere. Have set up divisions dedicated to blockchain and DLT development. People don't want to face it. DLT is the future. It's not going anywhere. It's going to get bigger. It's going to dominate. It is the new system as a whole, not just new financial system. It's the new system as a whole. A lot of these private companies, a lot of these bank coin companies are going to have a piece of that. They're going to have a piece of that. DLT has not seen its peak yet, right? Now, check this out. Why would they do this? This is also coming from Wardberry, all right? It says, while specific language was removed, it was removed from the 2021 National Defense Authorization Act. Why would they remove that? Why? Who don't they want knowing certain information? The people. They know the people didn't read it. They know the people don't know. I told you a lot of stuff got deleted. It says here, while specific language was removed from the 2021 National Defense Authorization Act, there is still interest in exploring potential uses of DLT technologies for defense purposes. I want to just really emphasize that. It's not going anywhere. Listen, these companies, once you get to a certain size, they start shaking hands with the government. At that point, when they start shaking hands with the government, contracts start getting negotiated. That's where the big money is. The big money is in the private contracts. You get the private contracts, you have the respect. The big companies know that. Right? And they want to use the same technology the government is using. All right. So keep in mind also, the big companies put a lot of money into the hands of politicians. So now what's happening is these companies like Ripple, Stellar. This is why the White House was calling Stellar. You didn't ask questions. Why are they calling Stellar? They could have done that any other way. Why make that public? They didn't have to make that public. They start shaking hands with these companies. They start below the radar working on special projects and bringing in contracts. And because of that, they're now becoming an integral part of the fabric of the system. And when you become a part of the fabric of the system, at some point they flood you with capital. Look at all the companies that do special projects like Lockheed Martin and stuff. They work on projects you don't know what the heck they are. They're in private ecosystems. That's pretty much what they are. But they're always designing something new. There's always money coming in. You think the same thing's not happening? They have whole divisions set up in development, but they're not at the forefront. They don't have the best of the best. This is one reason why companies like Ripple, Stellar, Algorand, Quant have been scouring the globe to bring in the best of the best minds. They made it very clear in a lot of these different articles over the years, the governments want an interoperable system. But once again, if you listen to what the man from the Fed just said, like a week or two ago, he said, give the private sector time. That was in the video. We played the audio. He said, give the private sector time. Then when it came to India and India trying to connect to FedNow system, which he clearly let it be known that that was a failure. Tons of banks don't even want to connect to it. What did he say? He said they should wait. I'm paraphrasing. You can watch the video. You can listen to audio. I played it in the video. He said they should wait. And what system they should connect to is the private system that's being developed. He said they should wait and connect to that private system. But the problem is the private system only has 600 banks at this time. What system was he talking about? Wait a minute. Wait 1 minute. So we're cooking right now. It's too late. You're a detective. It's all ready. We're on the case. 600 banks. What system was that? Now, if that member from the Fed is so bullish on the private sector system and they're allowing him to go out there and make speeches and talk about it like this, that means it's intended. They want him to spread this news. He's been given the green light, which means what? More people behind the scenes feel that exact same way. Why? What could be one of the reasons? There's many, but what's one of the reasons? Because it might be almost time to unveil something massive to the public. The public has to get ready. You have to start tenderizing their minds, conditioning their minds, preparing them for what is to come. You can't just drop everything on them all at once. They don't like that. But over time, if you're starting to notice a trend, we had the Fed official come out. We've had multiple large business representatives come out bullish on DLT, even like BlackRock, as an example. And so this media has been dripped. This mind state, this conditioning has been dripped onto the public for quite some time now. So every day they're coming home from work, or they're driving home from work, or they're driving in their truck. They're listening to the news and getting conditioned. Oh, DLT, BlackRock's into DLT. That's interesting. Oh, Christopher Waller of the Fed is talking positively about the private sector in DLT. That's interesting. Oh, the news media is talking positively about Bitcoin and crypto. And, people think Bitcoin is synonymous with crypto. They're getting conditioned, but why? There is no effect without a cause, folks. Cause and effect is chance. Coincidence is but cause and effect unrecognized. Don't you let anyone else tell you different. That is a universal law. Chance and coincidence are but cause and effect unrecognized. I believe the cause could possibly be, this is what I believe. They're getting ready to unveil something massive. I don't know when, maybe the next year or two. It doesn't matter. Pay attention to the acceleration of the conditioning. The government does not turn its back on projects. They don't. The military does not turn their back on projects. They just get quiet about it and they start advancing. The U.S. does it the best. As far as keeping things quiet, the U.S. keeps super quiet till you think they don't have anything. Next thing you know, there's an aircraft over a city. And the people are staring up at the sky and taking pictures of it saying it's a UFO. And it's not even a UFO. It's a special craft that they were working on. Lockheed Martin and all these people. I'm using it as an example, folks. I'm telling you, they get quiet. They try to push people away from it. Oh, no, this is silly. We can't possibly have a triangular shaped aircraft and it does all these maneuvers. Yeah. You think that they had the same, F-22, F-16 type craft as an example for that long? The designs are so similar. You think they didn't try something else? Of course they did. They kept it quiet. There's what they present to you and there's what they do behind the scenes. They have this old saying that a lot of people go by, a lot of old school people, and especially a lot of people who are not neophytes. You get what I'm saying? They're in the club. You don't let the left hand know what the right hand is doing. You ever heard that? Right. So there's what they show you and then there's what they're really working on behind the scenes. Listen, something major is coming for crypto across the board. That's why it's starting to get the green light. Right now, they're shaking things up because, don't get me wrong, they want to make a lot of money off this. Facts. That's BlackRock's going to make a ton of money off Bitcoin. Grayscale, they're going to make a lot of money off Bitcoin and crypto as a whole. They're going in deep with a lot of stuff. They told the people. But see, it's an addiction to people listen to the negativity. It gets that adrenaline spike. And then you want more of that adrenaline spike every day. So then they go towards that negative news, like watching horror movies or getting on a roller coaster. And so they get addicted to that. But then what happens because of that addiction to that adrenaline that comes from negative news, because it's like sort of exciting, it's shocking, you start to get conditioned with that pessimism. You start to look at things. I'll say this. You start to not see things in their totality. In my humblest opinion, I mean that with all respect, all due respect. But it doesn't change the fact. Valkyrie wants to make a ton of money off that. Ark Invest wants to make a ton of money off crypto. They know what's coming. That's why the big institutions reported recently. They were buying up the Solana when it went down. Then XRP went down one time. A couple articles came out showing that there was big activity. People were buying up XRP, breaking it up into pieces, sometimes buying big chunks of it. But then those articles got buried. They got buried by all this other news that really is inconsequential, right? Bitcoin, same thing. Why are they going in deep with all of these top cryptos? There is an explosion coming. There is a change in the world coming. Only a few are going to see life-changing gains, not financial advice. Do what you want to do. Not financial advice. I'm a humble researcher, right? I just carry a message. It's up to you. You hear the message or not. And how you interpret it is up to you. But they know something's coming. Huge, massive explosion. I don't know how many different ways you can say it, but every day we're seeing the advancement towards that moment. The world as you know it is about to change. The governments want DLT deployed, new financial system. The big businesses want it. And a lot of the people want it as well. They need it, matter of fact. But here's the thing also. They're not saying the businesses also want it. Think not, wait a minute. This will be a little bit of a different video. The businesses here, I'm going to give you numbers. Look at this. Listen to this here. A 2024, right? Let me put my hand like this so I know where to put the chapter. A 2024 industry-wide survey on DLT in the real world found that a large number of financial services organizations across the globe are actively pursuing DLT initiatives. That's not the good part. Nearly 2/3 of survey institutions either have a dedicated digital asset function or are building one within their organizations. And we know it's leaning towards building because they've said over and over this year, hey, we need a little bit more time. We're still building. We're still testing. We haven't deployed yet. All of that stuff. They're still running, what do they call those things? The early iterations of like prototypes. 62%, which means what? They all lack interoperability. Let's establish that. The Fed says that they lack interoperability. The IMF says that they lack interoperability. We read from the BIS this year, read from them that the systems around the world lack interoperability. They're siloed. We heard Janet Yellen say that she was concerned about fragmentation, increased fragmentation. That's another thing that's crazy. Janet Yellen says she's out of there. After whoever becomes president, she says she's out of there. I don't know if she's going to stick to that or not. That's going to be interesting to see who steps up. Oh, my goodness. Wait a minute. I just remember who wants to apply for that position. Oh, man. Do people remember? Let's hope that does not occur. There's rumors. I won't go in too deep. Those who know. There's rumors about who wants to step into that position, and it's not good. Hopefully it's not true. So now, I don't say certain things because I'm one of those people. I don't like to put the energy out there, to be honest. Like it just tapped my mind. So I spoke on it a little bit, but I'm going to keep that energy neutralized. So now you got to be careful what thoughts you put out there. Thoughts can be powerful. So now 62%, only 5%, this is global. Only 5% of all of these global institutions that were surveyed said that they have no plans to develop DLT capabilities, 5%. And in my humble opinion, they're 100% wrong. It's not that they have plans to do it. It's not that they want to do it. This is real life. At some point, they'll need to do it to interface with everyone else, to do business with everyone else. They'll need to do it. There's a lot of people when cars came out, automobiles came out. They say, stick with the horse. Had a horse all my life. We don't need an automobile. It's not about what you want. It's not about, your thoughts on how things should go. This is real life. They had to get an automobile to get to work because now the jobs were 2 cities, 3 cities away. Their families moving around as society advances. They had to get an automobile. They had to get a car. These companies, the 5%, will need DLT systems. And who's going to connect them? That's what I need to get to. Who's going to connect it all? What did Christopher Waller say? Wait, on who? The private sector. The private sector. See, Bitcoin, it serves its purpose. Money maker. Money maker for sure. For sure. I don't know about you, but from everything that I've seen, Bitcoin is a bubbling volcano. And times like this where that price goes down makes it better. Makes it better. Those bigger companies get in on the low and they're propping that price up. And 100% they have the power to pump it. 100% they have the power to make that thing explode. Not just with their capital, but with their control of the media. We know this. Oh, Bitcoin's a volcano of money bubbling. In my humble opinion, not financial advice once again. So it serves its purpose as a moneymaker. Gold is a store of value. Bitcoin, moneymaker. The rest of the cryptos, also moneymakers. I think they're going to be substantial, in my humble opinion, because of what they're trying to do. RWA, massive interbank payments, etc. They haven't begun. Hasn't even begun. You have companies still trying to make sure everything is good before they deploy it like Flare. Like Flare. And everything they're trying to do, all that value that's going to get locked up on Flare and on Songbird. Other company, I give you another example. Quant. Oh, the people got quiet on Quant. Oh, they got real quiet on Quant. I didn't. I have changed nothing. I've gotten more bullish. What's going on with that staking that they were talking about with Quant? What's going on with that? What happens when you have an asset that has a lower circulating supply than Bitcoin? What happens if people start staking that? Haven't things been changing in the United Kingdom? Quant is in deep with the Bank of England and all the other banks over there. They're in deep with Nexi, Sia Chain. The regulatory environments around the world have been dramatically changing. You think that they just let go of that whole staking idea? Whatever they're going to call it. Can you imagine people locking up Quant at some point in the next year or two? What would it do to that price? We've seen how Quant can explode very easily during a bloody bear market. What can it do during a bull market? The bull market hasn't even come yet. The bull market hasn't come yet for all of these cryptos across the board. One. Number two, what's the other thing? We don't know how many federal rate cuts we're going to get. Is it going to be 25 basis points? Is it going to be 50 basis points? Is there 2 rate cuts, maybe more? Who's going to be right about it? Those are bullish. So many bullish catalysts. I mean, the big companies are stepping in. They're taking over. There's one bullish catalyst after another. One after another. It's another reason why a lot of the powers, a lot of the forces of the world have to bring you down a bit. Like, oh, no, can't get the people too bullish. They don't want you too bullish. A positive people is a powerful people. A positive people can do anything. A positive people can change things. They don't want you doing that. No. Got to bring you down a little bit. Too many positive catalysts. And then they start throwing in that negativity, just erroneous negativity in there to bring you down. Don't allow people to bring you down. Wait a minute. That's not all. That's not all. Wait. Current adoption rates. Says while exact numbers for the USA are not provided, global statistics indicate significant adoption. 92% of technology leaders in the financial sector are engaged in blockchain and DLT. Wait, 92% are engaged. How much of the private sector do you think is dominating that 92%? See, what's interesting about what Christopher Waller said is that whatever that one is that he was talking about, he has 600 banks. He wasn't talking about non-banking financial institutions and all the other partnerships. That's not what he was talking about. And then on top of it, was the 600 banks only in the USA? Or was that global? Ooh, you start thinking like that about the possibilities. You say to yourself, wait a minute. This could be big. He said more with the little bit that he said than he should have. He definitely did. 100%. I mean, this is what I do. This is how I think, folks. I'm going to rip it apart. If you put something in front of me, I'm going to do my best now. I'm going to do my best. That's all I can say. And I'm going to tear it apart. I'm going to look where I think no one else can look, under the rocks that no one else looks at. So it says here, let's see. So now, business-wise, listen to this from business leaders. Here's a quote. Blockchain technology isn't just a more efficient way to settle securities. It will fundamentally change market structures and maybe even the architecture of the internet itself, unquote. This is from Abigail Johnson, CEO of Fidelity Investments. I wish I could remember. There was a governmental representative recently. At least I read the quote from that individual. It was a man. I can't remember his name. It's not Christopher Waller, it was someone else. And they were saying something similar to this, that they believe that blockchain technology is changing the world at its essential level, at its substantial level. My apologies for lack of a better word. I can't remember that person's name. But isn't it interesting? You get similar statements from two different individuals in two different fields of work. Wait a minute. Here's another little quote from someone who's into business. Quote, the blockchain cannot be described as just a revolution. It is a tsunami-like phenomenon, slowly advancing and gradually enveloping everything along its way by the force of its progression, unquote. William Mugayar, blockchain researcher and author. A tsunami, he described it. Remember, I used to talk about it like that. I used to say, oh, there's a tsunami coming. I was talking more about the capital that's going to flood in, which has remained the same or gotten bigger. That hasn't changed. It's taking over everything. How is crypto not the most bullish thing on earth? Those top cryptos, the bank coins, Bitcoin, these utility coins are looking insane in the future, long term. I'm not short term. You can't talk to me about short term. Short term, in my humble opinion, is where with the short term vision, is where mistakes are made. You're shaking up too easy. And the markets are very volatile. It's always going to be like that. Always was like that. Life is volatile. One day you have a good day, next day you have a bad day. 2 good days, then you might have 2 bad days. 1 bad day, you have 2 good days. Life is like that. You get out there in traffic and the traffic is heavy this day and it's not heavy the next day. You know, Donut Man is cool 5 days in a row. That 6th day you go in there for donuts, he might have an attitude. Who knows? He's arguing with his spouse or something. Who knows? He brought that into the job. You just want some donuts. Bro, put my donuts in the bag, please. Life is like that. Life is volatile, but that's short term. You got to look long term. What am I building? What am I building towards? What am I doing? What am I doing this for? What are the reasons? What are the catalysts? And when you look at it like that, when you're working hard, you're doing good, or you're looking at something like DLT, you say all these businesses are backing it, saying it's bullish. The governments are saying it's bullish. The militaries are bullish on it. Who's not bullish on it? The IMF backed off and said, whoa, wait a minute. El Salvador is actually right. All those negatives we were talking about that Bitcoin was going to bring to El Salvador did not bring it. They did not bring anything. None of those reared their ugly heads. Even the IMF backed off. So, I mean, they're not bullish, but they're not negative on blockchain either right now. Right now. And why would they be? Ripple works with them a lot, advises them a lot from what I've read. Make your own interpretation. You go read it for yourself, read stuff for yourself. But they work with Ripple, right? They've worked with a few different DLT technology companies. They're going to have to be on the chain as well, utilizing the chain, however you want to put that. I'm not always so eloquent, but what I wanted to convey here is that something major is building. Every day we're uncovering a new piece of it as we're on the case. Every single day. What the media is trying to do by putting dirt on crypto as a whole, and it's been everything. That's what I'm talking about. Crypto as a whole is bullish. As a whole. They've thrown dirt on Cardano. They've thrown dirt on Quant. They've thrown dirt on XRP. I saw them recently throwing dirt on Bitcoin. And that's when I said, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Something's going on here. There's no way you're throwing dirt on Bitcoin. No way. This is the most bullish time period before a bull run I've seen with Bitcoin. The setup. That's when I knew. I said, wait a minute. There's in my humble opinion, there's some manipulation going on here. They wanted that Bitcoin price to go down. They wanted people to sell a bit, and they did. A lot of people sold their Bitcoin. To each his own. You do what you want to do. I'm just looking at it as an observer and a researcher, and I'm calculating, saying to myself, wait a minute. They wanted that. Then what did you see? That went down, and people start buying Bitcoin. They try not to do too much too soon because I think they're testing the waters to see if they could bring it down a little bit more. I think they're testing the waters because they saw the spike go up. People start to get excited, saw that fear and greed index just a little bit. And I think what's going to happen is if the people don't jump too much, then you're going to get more negative media, more data manipulation. That's what I told you. The numbers are manipulated. Then they told you that the jobs numbers were, they were saying the jobs numbers were better than what they actually were. You saw that they lied. They lied. They're doing it again. So I think there could be more data manipulation that comes out, and the people are going to bite for it. They're going to bite the bait. They're going to bite the bait, and they could possibly bring that Bitcoin down a little bit more. I hope not. I hope the Fed comes out and just like, hey, we're going to do a rate cut and everybody's bullish and boom, the markets go up again. That's what I hope. I hope the markets go up and explode. I like a good time, but I'm looking at it realistically and saying to myself, yeah, I think they're leaning towards bringing it down a little bit more. They're watching. They're watching the reactions of the people, seeing what happens, and then they'll go from there. Their decision making is it's on the spot. It's adjustable. And I think that's a good way to make decisions. Is adjustable depending on the conditions that you're observing firsthand, So now that you have that information, what are you going to do with it? I know what I'm going to do with it. So until next time, everybody, let's get to the money.